Back in 2008, I published an article on dental economics called Retire by 50, Is It Possible? In that article, I went over the characteristics of those doctors. This is going to be an update for 2013. Well, since that time, I've talked to a lot of other dentists who've retired either by their mid-50s or had acquired wealth of between $4 and $10 million, not including their primary residence, and continue to still work. In other words, they can retire whenever they want to. What are the characteristics? Basically similar to what I found back in 2008. Let's go over them. In the practices, very few of the dentists have more than 3 employees. In fact, a lot have 2 employees. That means no hygienist. Overhead has always been less than 50% for these doctors. They've practiced in one location for their whole career. They have not had any superstar employees, just regular employees. Key thing is that they didn't carry any practice debt. Virtually none of them for more than a few years. Personally, they had one home purchase throughout their whole career. Interestingly, almost all of these guys now live in golf course communities, nice communities, in bigger homes than they had when they were in practice. They also almost all have luxury cars. Throughout their career, they paid cash for cars, whether they paid luxury or not, they paid cash. And the key thing also, I talked about earlier, the practice loan. They had no significant practice debt, but they didn't bring in sequel loans. They didn't get a second home loan. They didn't get a second practice loan. Anything beyond that first loan, they paid cash for. Well, I'm not in with that group. I was able to retire by age 53, but I'm an outlier. I had up to 6 employees at a time. My last practice had 2,600 square feet. My overhead was tough to get below 70%. I definitely didn't have superstar employees. I did a lot of things different, but what I did do is I consistently saved 15% per year from my mid-30s on. That seemed to be the biggie for me. So you don't have to necessarily ally with all these different principles I've talked about. It's just interesting that the dentist had delayed gratification. They lived in more modest homes, they had modest practices, they just did bread and butter dentistry, and they silently built wealth over the years. Well, what can you do? First of all, have you and your spouse, not your CPA, you need to do that too, but you and your spouse need to go over your profit and loss statement once a year. That's just all your expenses and what the percentages are. It's a simple form, but sit down and look at it. Have your spouse have another interested mind involved. You might find some surprises. Often it's employee salaries, it may be office equipment or something that's out of line. Take a look at that once a year. Do not take out sequel loans if possible. Sequel means I have one practice loan. As soon as I pay it off, I take out another big practice loan by relocating or doing a massive remodel. If you're going to do this, pay cash. Another key important thing that's not brought out much at all in the dental literature is to teach your children to be financially responsible, even at an early age. There's a 100% correlation between your wealth and what your children's knowledge of money is. What I always say is what your children know about money tends to rub off on you. In other words, they'll monitor your spending. It happens with every single one of these people that have early wealth. Another key thing is to have no debt except a 15-year mortgage as quickly as you can. Your student loans have to be paid off. Absolutely have to be paid off before you take out a practice loan or a home loan. Sorry, young dentist, you just have to suck it up for a few years. Investing, I've said this before in other videos, keep it simple, buy index funds with low fees and be well diversified. And no active management. That means no in and out of the market, no market timing. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day.